trying to figure out what's going on with your body can be, well, really confusing, especially when you think perimenopause might be starting. And now there's this whole new category of at-home tests that promise to give you a clear, simple answer. But the big question is, can you actually trust them? Today we're going to break it all down: what these tests claim to do, what the experts really think, and what actually works.
I mean, if you're dealing with stuff like this, you know exactly how unsettling it can be. One minute, everything feels totally normal, and the next, you're waking up from night sweats or trying to figure out a period that's just gone completely off the rails. So it's no surprise that so many of us are just looking for a simple explanation for what on earth is happening. And then, right on cue, this potential solution just pops up. You've probably seen them, brands like Clearblue and Everlywell rolling out these at-home tests that say they can pinpoint your menopause stage. They offer this sense of clarity right when you're feeling the most confused, promising to turn all those weird symptoms into a single, straightforward answer. So let's take a closer look at these new tests. They're pretty much everywhere now. You can find them online, in drugstores, usually sitting right next to the pregnancy and ovulation tests. And they're not exactly cheap. The price can range from about $10 for a really simple test strip to almost $200 for some of the more comprehensive kits you have to mail in. So while they're easy to get, they can definitely take a bite out of your wallet. Okay, so let's get into the nitty-gritty. How these tests even claim to know what's going on inside your body. The science they're based on sounds pretty logical at first, but as we're about to see, there's a whole lot more to the story. So it really all boils down to this one key player, follicle-stimulating hormone, or FSH for short. Basically, your body produces FSH to tell your ovaries, hey, time to get an egg ready for ovulation. It's a totally fundamental part of your monthly cycle. So here's the thinking behind the tests. As perimenopause kicks in, your ovaries start producing fewer eggs. Your body senses this and thinks, uh-oh, I need to work harder. So it starts pumping out more and more FSH to try and kickstart ovulation. These tests work on the idea that if your FSH levels are consistently high, that's a sign you're heading into the menopause transition. Simple enough, right? Now, while most tests are all about that FSH we just talked about, some of the more expensive kits also look at other hormones, like luteinizing hormone and a form of estrogen called estradiol. And they collect this info in different ways. Some are just simple urine strips you use over a few days, others use saliva swabs, and some even have you do a finger prick blood test that you mail off to a lab. So that's the promise, right? Clarity in a box. But what do the actual experts, the gynecologists who help people with these exact symptoms every single day, have to say about all this? Well, this is where the story takes a really sharp turn. And yeah, the expert opinion is pretty blunt. Dr. Tara Ullman, a board-certified gynecologist, really doesn't mince words. She says these tests are, and I quote, just something that's monetizing fear and confusion around menopause. Wow, that's a pretty powerful statement. And this right here perfectly explains the core problem. The tests promise you a simple, clear answer. But the reality of perimenopause? It's hormonal chaos. As Dr. Ullman puts it, your hormones are going to be all over the place. They're on a roller coaster. Your FSH could be high one day and totally normal the next. So a single snapshot, or even a few, it just can't give you the full picture. And the skepticism doesn't just stop with one doctor. The Menopause Society, which is a leading authority on this, has flat out said that salivary hormone tests are not accurate. And think about it. Doctors almost never use urine samples to measure these hormones in a clinical setting either. The bottom line is that even with a super accurate blood test, the levels fluctuate so much that a diagnosis based on one number is just unreliable. There's a real human cost to all this potential inaccuracy. Dr. Monica Christmas makes a great point. Imagine you're having awful hot flashes, but you take a test and it comes back negative. That can be incredibly discouraging. It might make you doubt what you're feeling or even stop you from seeking real medical help, even when your symptoms are 100% real. Okay, so if these at-home tests aren't the answer, then what is? How do doctors really build a reliable picture and figure out if you're in perimenopause? And it turns out it's not about some magic number on a test strip. It's really just a conversation. Doctors make what's called a clinical diagnosis, and they base it on three key things you see here. Your age, it usually starts after 45, your menstrual history, any changes or irregularities in your cycle, and most importantly, your symptoms, what you are actually feeling day to day. Just like Dr. Ullman says, it's a diagnosis that's made in partnership with your doctor. It's about them listening to your experience, putting all the pieces of the puzzle together, and finding solutions that will actually help you feel better, not just slapping a label on you based on some number that's always changing anyway.
So, where does that leave you? What are the best next steps? Well, if you think you might be perimenopausal, the experts say you should probably skip the expensive at-home tests and focus on what's really going to make a difference.
So here is your expert-approved action plan. First, track your symptoms. Become your own detective. Write down what you're feeling and when. Second, go to your doctor's appointment prepared with that list so you can have a really focused, productive conversation. And third, and this is a big one, if your doctor dismisses your concerns, find a new one. Seriously. Resources like the Menopause Society can help you find a certified doctor who actually gets it. Look, at the end of the day, the promise of a simple test is so tempting. I get it. But perimenopause is a complex process. And that really brings us to a final, crucial question. When it comes to our health, is the simplest answer always the right one?